Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of What Is There a Problem?
I don't know, you just sounded really fruity when you said that.
Another episode of Faithful to the Traitors Down Under.
Oh Christ, now you
Welcome
just
to
cut.
my back paddock.
Because you said fruity.
I see.
Oh
God,
Yeah.
This is never a good start. Ben's already messing up the
I'm like a DJ.
soundboard.
No, I'm DJing.
DJ.
I am Ben, co-host of Faithful to the Traitors New Zealand Series 1. And I am 100% faithful.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Faithful. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. I'm Alex. I'm also a co-host of this
Welcome to
godforsaken
my back paddock.
show. And yes, I am also faithful. I'm always faithful. Faithful to, from, with, against.
Well, we're here to discuss another big episode. Our predictions were wrong from last episode, where we thought Kings was going to be gone.
He was on the chopping block. He was on the chopping block. There was word out there. They said they were going to go for, if they went for Julia, people would suspect King. If they went for Kings, they would suspect Julia. So they thought, you know what, just let them battle it out amongst each other.
Yeah, the brains.
They
Mr.
did,
Kings.
and
He
they-
may have forgotten his brain.
Oh my goodness, we have to talk about that in great detail, in more detail than perhaps Kings had even planned it, because no one really knows. I still am baffled.
I was very confused.
I've written notes here, and I am still absolutely baffled about what King's plan actually was.
Same. When he explained it the first time, it didn't make sense. When he explained it halfway through into a VT2 camera, it didn't make sense. When he explained it again at the round table, didn't make sense. Then when he explained it at the end of the episode, I still had no idea what was going on.
Well,
So,
even he said it by the end. He was like, I don't really know what I was doing. Because when he presented like to everyone, like, ha ha ha, this was a plan and here's what I was meant to do, everyone was still like going, Kings, I don't really think you thought this through. I don't think that's the solution to what you were trying to do.
Thank God he's not a traitor.
But then
because-
Kings had the audacity to say at the very end of the episode that everyone was rubbish and that everyone was stupid. It's like,
he did
come on, Kings.
banter in the end, did he? So I suppose.
well, okay, fine, but his reasoning was a bit backwards. But yes, thank goodness he wasn't asked to. Well, as you say that, I feel like that Brooke has traitor's regret for choosing Colin, because Colin's shown himself to be. He's a good faithful, but my God, he's a vicious traitor. He's really gunned straight. He's gone literally out the mark and just gone for it.
You have to. You can't trust him. And before we move on, there was a murder.
It was.
Justine Smith was killed.
That's her surname.
Yes.
Smith.
Yeah.
I know Smith is a common name. Before anyone goes at me and says, Smith's a really common name. But Sam Smith, Justine Smith,
That's how they know each other so well, probably.
do you reckon they're family?
I know they know each other from Taskmaster, don't they? Wasn't he like the warm-up act and she was a contestant or something?
Well, they're both comedians.
Yes. Well, Justine Smith, got a fact file here. Might as well get on with it as we go. She is a prolific comedian from shows such as 7 Days to Taskmaster, New Zealand. Sam Smith's also been there. Could Justine Smith be laughing straight to the bank? She
No.
said, I want to really indulge that evil Scorpio side of me. It appeals to me to be slightly evil. So if she is a traitor, at least the other contestants might all die laughing, which is something we can all aspire to.
And this article is obviously from...
Yes, my fact file is from the spinoff.co.nz. Wonderfully.
Former working place of Dylan.
Yeah, with his conspiracy theory articles about COVID and all sorts. So against them, not for them.
Oh, yeah.
I think. I should research that, but I'm pretty sure that's
I'm
what
sure
it
it is. I don't see Dylan as a...
No. So yeah, Justine was gone, sadly. Another woman, which we did expect.
No, I mean, this is it, isn't it? It's getting quite prolific, isn't it?
Well, I have something to say about the women, about our theory on the sexism of this series.
The misogyny of the series.
I am jumping right to the end of the episode here, but I'm just going to briefly say, and
That's
we'll
fine.
talk about it more later. Anna and Julia went into the shield challenge. One of them got a shield. They didn't say who it was going to be.
Oh, that's
they're,
true.
They're both
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
Both
yeah.
women, two women, safe from murder.
Yep.
fast forward to the end of the episode where the two male traitors, they can choose, there's 4 people left. There's Anna, Julia, Sam, Kings to be murdered.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them have the shield.
Both female.
Right. So it would be between the 2 men, Kings or Sam. No. They said, hold on, let's be a little bit silly here and we'll just go for one of the women. They might have a shield, they might not. It's worth the risk.
They're going a shield murder, yeah.
The one time, the only option, 2 women.
That's true.
It's worth us risking the whole game, actually, just to get another woman out, because it's just
because they're women and we want to get rid of them. That's true, to be
so
fair.
When they said that, I was like, for God's sake, even when they've got a shield, they're still like, no, we'll risk it.
We'll go for
50-50. So there you go. Because I was thinking, Sam's on the chopping block here, but no.
Well,
he's the man.
Fingers crossed then, because to be fair, I do feel like that they were leaning toward Anna. So fingers
I don't
crossed.
want them to go.
Yeah, but
I
Anna
want
won't go.
Kings to go.
If they do choose Anna, then she's protected. So we need to keep our fingers crossed that they go for Anna.
Oh yeah, of
not
course.
Julia, and then they know that they've been protected. The problem is with that is that everyone will then think that someone else has been recruited, so they're going to then think there's 3 traitors. And so when they get to the end game,
they're going to keep going, when they're gone.
Trying to get the traitors.
Oh,
well, yeah, but then there's more chance that they will then eliminate Brooke and Colin.
They knew there was a blackmail, and they knew the term blackmail for some reason.
Why wouldn't you know the term blackmail?
Well, they just knew that a blackmail...
Oh, you mean they knew that there had been a blackmail?
Yeah, even though Justine was murdered, so they might be able to figure it out, because these lot are smart.
I mean, Paul might have said something to them and they just didn't decide to put it on the show because they thought that it could be explained by the contestants as pieces to camera. But I know, to be honest, that wasn't something I spotted. But we have said throughout this series that there has been a very strong leaning toward
killing women.
Killing women. Let's be honest, there's been 6 traitors now, 2 of which were women, and on both occasions they were eliminated literally the day they became traitors.
Yeah.
The men have stayed in a lot longer, and a majority
of murders.
A majority of murders have been female. Of the 5 murders there have been, 4 have been female. So, I mean, you could argue, no, you're seeing something that's not there, but it feels like there's a little bit of a bias here.
We shall see as the episodes go on, but we are.
I mean, there's only 2 more left. This is the last.
Yeah, there is only 2 more females left. You're correct. Yeah.
That's 2 more episodes. There you go. They're gone. Bye, Anna and Julia. But in a weird way. Although I agree with you, I think that on the basis of this episode, Kings should be the one who should be in the firing line and should be gone. Just because of
Before
his
you start,
absolute nonsense.
I was meant to say this right at the beginning, but I want you to let me know when you think 13 minutes of this podcast is gone. Carry on.
It feels like a lifetime, Ben. I can't count that long. Also, I haven't let people know. Well, before I carry on, also, if you want to get in touch with your theories of whether the Traitors New Zealand is perhaps a very male-orientated series, then find us on Twitter or X at Traitors Podcast, on Instagram, Faithful to the Traitors. We're also on Threads at the same name. Or you can email us, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. So, I was just going to say, I would be more upset that if Sam had been taken away from me.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Sam.
I don't want Sam ever to leave my life. I want Sam, if I will pay Sam to come and live with us and just sit in a little bed in the corner of the room.
Are legally blind.
Because he's just so adorable and I love him and he's just great. And
they were going to keep him there because Brooke was literally like, he'll just say whatever because he wants everyone to be faithful.
Well, no, this is what they've said.
While he's splashing his face with water in the sink.
They literally said that Sam is the most trusting. This is a quote. Sam is the most trusting person in the group. He will believe anything that we tell him. I mean, that's sweet, isn't it? That's a nice trait to have. And normally the most trusting people don't survive. Sam has survived. And he would have made up such a good traitor if he could pull it off because no one suspects him.
I don't think he'd be able to pull it off though.
No, I don't either.
Like Vander wouldn't have been able to cope.
Yeah, but the point is that the fingers have been pointed to everyone. The contestants that are left, they've all had a finger pointed at them at some point. Bar Sam. No, Sam did get that one vote. Who was it who voted for him that one time? I can find out.
Yeah. It was because someone else voted for. He voted for someone, so they voted for him.
Sam got 2 votes. Sam has had 2 votes. One of them was Ash. Ash voted for him.
Ash, you're looking at
I'm
wrong...
looking. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong series. Gosh, I'm sorry, everyone.
Those Sams cannot be mixed up because they're polar opposite Sams.
No, this is it, isn't it? They're completely different Sams. You carry on. Fill up. Fluff.
Enough talking.
Well, anyway, we'll go on to Kings, shall we? Because Kings came to breakfast with a master plan. He'd been up all night thinking about it in his boxes and his thing that he wears to bed. What is it? His white.
It's his gown.
Yeah, his gown and underwear.
Not wearing anything
So
underneath it.
he was thinking about his master plan. And I feel that he only thought up to his first few sentences of the plan when he announced it out loud.
Yeah.
Where he said, before Brooke came in, he was like, I'm going to go for Brooke today. I'm going to tell him, I'm going to let everyone know my plan. It's going to be really brave and dangerous.
An
and I'm going to do it.
insane plan.
And then Brooke came in and then he said, I'm going to vote for you tonight. And everyone's just like, what's happening? And then literally 10 seconds after that, he then turned to Brooke and whispered to him, oh, I'm on your side, mate. This is part of the plan. And it's like, sorry? So he told everyone he was voting for Brooke tonight and going for him because he's a traitor.
Yeah.
He then said it to Brooke and then said to Brooke in secret as a whisper, this is part of the plan, I'm on your side.
Yeah. So,
But then that never happened.
I don't know.
So I don't actually know what the plan was.
Well, he was using Brooke as a way of seeing who would defend him. This is the impression I got from his many, many different variations of the plan.
That's how the plan ended, but I don't know if that was the original intent.
Well, he said that he said it out loud and then he said it privately that he was using Brooke's... He thinks that Brooke is a faithful, but he's a selfish faithful.
Oh, yeah, dodgy faithful.
So as a selfish faithful, he was trying to convince others that when Brooke says something, others would listen to him, and then seeing how people would react the way that Brooke would put people's names out there. So then he as you said, then carried on and said that he was doing this to see how other people would then defend or agree with Brooke, because if they would agree with him, he would then know.
But
What was know who was a traitor.
What was the point of this plan? Because he didn't think
No
he was a
one
traitor.
knows.
So what was the point?
No one, no, not
whole
even King knows.
The whole thing is you don't go for someone if you think they're not a traitor, even if they're not playing the game well. It's been 13 minutes. You've lost your silver bar.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. You
It's
saying
okay,
that
you've
to me?
lost.
Oh, okay, fine. There was too many ghosts making noises. I was
There
scared.
was the ghost of Paul.
Welcome to my back paddock.
So it's just ridiculous. The whole thing didn't make any sense at all to me.
But the other thing,
And I don't
with
think it made sense to anyone else either.
Well, the other thing with it was that Kings came up with this plan without making Brooke aware of the plan, if that makes sense, and then told Brooke in front of everyone at the breakfast table that he didn't think he was a traitor. So within earshot of anyone who would be able to listen
None
and
of
hear
it made
it.
sense because he said different stuff to other people when
Yeah.
Brooke wasn't there. He was like, "Oh yeah, he's a traitor." It's just weird. And then at the round table, he then said, "Colin, you're the traitor," and
Well,
it
no,
was
this
that
is-
was the plan.
Well, no, this is it. Then
'Cause
he
Colin
said,
didn't-
yeah.
Colin was the only one who didn't want to go for Brooke when he asked everyone.
That's it. At the
Or
round
something.
table, then Kings was kind of, everyone said like, so Kings, what exactly was it that you were, what
were you doing?
What were you doing? And Kings looked up and said, well, my plan worked. My plan was a success because from his plan, he wanted to see who it would provoke. And he felt like it provoked Colin, so it caught Colin out. Now, as it's always on this show, it was so frustrating because he was right. Colin is a traitor.
Yes, but
But-
only recently.
But at the same time, it made no sense of how he arrived at that result. And then he said, when Colin kind of said to him, yeah, but other people were talking to you about Brooke. What made me so important? And then Kings then turned on our buddy Sam and said, "Oh yeah, Sam was talking about Anna," which then made no sense to bring that information out. Sam's like, why? Sam's then privately saying to the director producers, like, I don't know why he said that, because it meant it had nothing to do with what Colin was outing him about. And then Anna kind of got a bit like, oh, that's taken a turn. Kings then went back on what he said and said, well, no, what I meant was, Colin, was that you said that you thought Anna would be a good candidate to be a traitor. And Anna kind of went, no, yeah, actually, I agree with you. And Sam said,
Colin,
yeah, Sam, yeah, no, because then Colin said the same thing.
Oh, right.
And Sam looked up and said, well, I felt the same way. And actually, Anna, if you remember rightly, we had this conversation with each other earlier today. And Anna was like, oh yeah, I do remember that conversation. And at that point, I think it kind of like the hamster wheel stopped turning in King's head. And I think he's just suddenly thought, I don't know what I'm doing.
No, he did announce it publicly. He said, I'm not good at this game. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then just sort of...
just slumped in his chair and just sat back and just watched the world go by around him.
It was just... Yeah, it was weird.
It made no sense.
They should have got rid of Kings, really, because shouldn't they, this episode? Well, no one voted him off or whatever.
Only one person voted for Kings. Wasn't that Vanda? Yeah, it was Vanda.
Yeah. Poor Vanda.
Poor Vanda.
Julia, so sure that it was Vanda was the one.
Yeah, well, this is where what you said in the last episode when you said, "Oh, Julia's really smart. She
well,
knows
I
exactly
she
what she's
was.
doing. Yeah, she's got the right people. She knows who she's going to vote for." And then what does she do? She votes for Vanda.
I mean, the votes were a bit. They weren't split, were they? I can't remember.
They weren't split at all. Vanda got 5. Colin got 1 from Kings.
Yeah, that was it.
Kings was very suspicious, and Kings got 1 from Vanda. I mean, if Kings hadn't come out with that revelation about Colin, then he wouldn't have got any anyway. He probably would have ended up voting for Vanda too, I guess. So it was a whitewash for Vanda, but again, it was based on very loose evidence. What really hurt me was that when it suddenly struck Sam, this realization that they had no idea and that Vanda was just a shot in the dark and they were just going with it.
And they were wrong.
But before Vanda came out and said, like, I'm a faithful, Sam just sat there kind of really like battle sorry and just kind of said, like, this game's scaring me now because we're at the point where if we don't get rid of the traitors,
this episode or the next,
we're gonna lose this game, and it's scaring me that we're just kind of just throwing names out into the ethos and seeing what's going to happen. And like everyone kind of that I know Sam didn't mean to do that, but that kind of brought a kind of like a moral kind of like sucked out any kind of like positivity within the group. And I don't think it helped very much with them kind of thinking straight. I think they kind of all conceded defeat on this round table, and they need to get to the next round table with a new vigor and a new kind of like enthusiasm to look at the clues better. Because I think the clues are there, but they're not looking at them properly.
It's getting down to the numbers now, though, isn't it? So they're gonna, what they need is the traitors to go against each other. That's what they need to happen.
Well,
they need Brooke and Colin to go.
Yeah.
But Brooke and Colin need to work together right up to episode 10, the final, for it to work.
But I don't know if that's going to happen either. To be fair, that's the. I feel you're right.
I think Colin, if it works out, Colin could get rid of Brooke and be the last traitor, and possibly walk away with the winnings.
I think the next episode, Colin and Brooke are going to battle each other. It's going to be a real game between them two to try to get people on their side.
And I think Brooke will go, and I think Colin will be in the final.
Well, both Brooke and Colin are popular, but I think Colin is more trusted. And I think people still, even despite King's best effort, I think that Colin is still trusted enough within the group that he could muster enough support to then get the others, to get Brooke out. It'd be interesting to see where Kings goes with this, whether Kings kind of takes Brooke's side or Colin's side. I mean, if Brooke was smart, I guess he would try to get Kings on side, but at the same time, I don't think much of the group
trust Colin.
Well, I don't think much of the group trust Kings. I think everyone thinks that Kings was so mad and doolally.
But that might prove that he's faithful because he was doing weird.
I don't think it is, though. I think that's going to make people think that Kings is.
He didn't
a
vote
traitor.
Vanda, and she was faithful. So that could work to his advantage.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that he had such a mad Cap episode that I think that, again, I think if they didn't kind of put their ducks in a row properly, I think it's easy enough for the faithful to vote Kings out.
Did you want to learn a bit more about Vanda?
I've always
gone.
My dream is to learn about Vanda.
Well, crime writer Vanda is no stranger to a bone-chilling murder mystery. Another writer. And she's also a trained pharmacist and enjoys fencing. Brackets, the sport, not the gardening structure, in her free time.
Yeah.
That's a joke there.
I got it. It's just hilarious.
This means Vanda knows how to murder people in 1,000 different ways. So, hurrah.
Is there 1,000
Let's get
ways
this
to murder
killing
someone?
spree started.
Is there 1,000 ways to kill someone?
Possibly. She's got a lot of books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books.
Well, in each one that someone gets murdered 150 different ways.
The Detective Sam Shepard series and a standalone book as well called Faceless. Currently 99p at the moment. There's some of her books are on offer for everyone.
What, on Vanda?
On Vanda.com.
On Vanda.com.
No, on Amazon.
Amazon is the website, that
You can
famous website.
You can also find my book on Amazon, everyone, if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Do you want to drop the link in the show notes?
No, they can find it themselves.
Okay.
They have to search my name.
I mean, if they find you on social
Secrets,
media...
Lies and Revenge.
There
Ben
you
Andrews.
go. God, that's a plug.
This on discount, just like Vanda's books. You can buy my book and Vanda's both at discount.
Vanda could buy your book. You could buy Vanda's.
Yeah.
You could discuss.
And Dylan, buy his book too.
Do you know 1,000 ways to murder someone?
Don't know.
That same person. That poor person, if you got killed 1,000 ways, I suppose you can only die once. You can't die 1,000 times.
No, there's a book I read recently which is the same person got killed 22 times.
Right. Was that a ghost in...
No, every
Paul's...
time they died, the person went to an alternative universe where the person wasn't dead then and killed her again. And they kept killing her over and over and over again.
Oh, that sounds really cool. What book's that?
The 22 Murders of Madison May, I think it's
They're
called.
always called Madison, aren't they?
think
Do you
it's
find in
called that.
crime books, one of the characters is almost guaranteed to be called Madison?
Yeah, it is. The 22 Murders of Madison May. So there you go, everyone. Read that. It's good, that book.
Oh, I might read that. Did you get it on your Kindle?
Library for free.
The library?
Yes, I rented it from the
Gosh,
library.
I forgot they exist.
I wonder if Vanda's book is in the library. I'll check it out when I go there next.
I might go with you.
So there you go. That's a little bit about Vanda.
That's fantastic. So,
and my book.
And your book. And a book that we both will read one day. So Vanda got banished.
Yeah,
They went
very
up to
sad.
they went up to the Traitors Tower.
Yes, very stuffy in there.
Brooke
Things are
was-
heating up.
Brooke was quite confident. Brooke was excited. Brooke was like, yeah, we did it. Come on. Yay for us. Woo, yay fun. And then Colin instantly, like a viper, just went onto Brooke's neck and said, not literally, and said, like, you didn't defend me at all. Why didn't you defend me? My name was put out there and not once did I hear you defend me. And that kind of put Brooke
I feel sorry
on the
for
back step a
Brooke.
little
I feel
bit, didn't
Brooke is playing like a nice traitor game, I feel. I think he is looking out for... He looked out for Dan. I think he is looking out for Colin.
I don't
Because
think there
when-
was any malicious intention.
No, because when Colin first came up, he was like, I've put your name out there, so I'm going to have to keep doing it, Brooke, because it would look suspicious if I don't. So he's
true.
doing it.
That's true.
I
That's very true.
think Brooke's playing a nice traitor game, which may be his downfall.
It's funny, this is genuinely a side of Colin that we've not seen in this game at all. He's been quite funny. He's kind of been very likeable.
Been very horny the past 2 episodes. I've
He wants to be
noticed.
tied up.
Yeah,
He
last
wants to-
week it was...
Last episode.
it was...
He wanted to be tied up and kidnapped.
Yes, and then this episode there was something when they were in the dark.
He likes hearing noises in the dark.
Yeah, he was getting off on it. So
He was kind of getting off on it. He was licking his lips and having a white whale of a time. But this genuinely was a side of Colin that it's like his eyes just stared at Brooke as well.
It
Like,
may be because he
wouldn't
feels
lose
threatened.
contact. What, Colin?
He may be lashing out in like he's
I was wondering that.
pre-attacking because he's expecting to be, Robbie didn't last long as a traitor. Maybe he's expecting to be used and thrown under the bus, and he's just putting it out there now,
He's
like
getting
his
quick.
early warning.
He does seem a bit disorientated, I must say. He not in front of everyone, but when he's like in front of Brooke, he does feel more disorientated. He feels like he's not He just doesn't feel like the Colin that I've learnt about from episode 1 to 7. Episode 8 was like a completely different side to Colin.
It's a different role now, isn't it? So he has to.
I get that, but like he was on the defensive. He was on the defensive immediately, and he kind of then attacked. And now Brooke has been put on the defensive, and I think that's. I just feel like that's a weird move for Colin to do quite so early on. It's like sometimes I think you need to keep your cards close to your chest, and if he felt like Brooke hadn't defended him, I think that reaction was a little bit over the top. I felt like that was a bit of an overreaction to the situation. That it was that Colin was seeing things that actually hadn't happened, and it just despite Brooke kind of saying that like that's not you're not right in the way you're perceiving things. It's worrying that Colin is perceiving it that way, and I think he genuinely thinks that's how it's perceived as well. He's not doing it to scare Brooke. He's not doing it to kind of deliberately poke the wasp's nest. He's doing it because he believes that to be true. And that's a bit dangerous, I think, for Brooke. And that's why I said that this episode, next episode 9, the penultimate episode as well, we should remember, is going to be a fight
against each other
between Brooke
There's
and
only
Colin.
room for one traitor in the final.
Yep.
But then it's difficult for numbers if there's only one traitor in the final. You kind of need 2 to gang up. Because if there's 2 faithfuls, 1 traitor, and you don't end the game, and they know there's 1 more in.
Yeah, I mean...
So you kind of need both traitors in the final, and then that's when they need to backstab each other.
Yeah, it makes common sense. You're right. It's common sense to have numbers because Colin and Brooke can then team together and get rid of... If they can just get rid of, 1 more, then it's 2 on 2. And then if they can just convince one of the 2 to like
It's going to be
go
Brooke,
on their
Colin,
side...
and Sam's going to be stuck and then lose between them both.
Oh no, Sam. Yeah, if it's less Sam, if it's left down to Sam, unfortunately, I don't think Sam's going to be. Although we've seen times when Sam's come out and fighting when he needs to be, and we did see that confrontation between Sam and Brooke. I still feel like that's bubbling underneath the waters a little bit.
They are the most successful faithful in any series so far. So
yeah, but I feel like Sam, if the time is right, Sam can step up, but. He needs to give his head a little bit of a wobble and get himself back on track. I think he's had 2 very difficult episodes this week. He's lost his friend Justine. I think he feels like a bit of a failure for not finding the traitor in this episode.
Yeah, getting rid of Vanda.
Yeah,
innocent Vanda. Writer Vanda. Yeah,
I just feel like there's too much going around in Sam's head that he just needs to clear it, reset. And look at them one last time. And I think Sam, of all of them, genuinely, Sam has the biggest influence. I just don't think Sam has the confidence to know that's true. So
you see, this is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
So anyway, so that's what I think. But it does all kind of pin on the whole fact of who will be murdered and whether if they do murder Julia or Anna, whether they're successful. Because if they, as we say, if they go for Anna, they won't be successful. If they're not successful, I think that's going to frustrate.
Do you think
Colin
one of them
Brooke.
knows? They don't, do they? They don't know which one has the shield.
No, neither. No. So they're just throwing. They're throwing 50-50.
They're making it so there could be an extra faithful when there didn't need to be one.
But I think if they fail, I think this is going to further stoke the animosity between Brooke and Colin. I think if they mess this up, I think if they get it right, they're going to feel like they've bonded and they've done something right, Brooke and Colin. If they get it wrong, I feel like this is going to be the moment that the split really happens. So I think it all depends on whether they succeed with the murder on the next episode. And that's how Alex sees it.
The final.
I
2
know.
more left.
Oh, it's going to be such a shame when the New Zealand series ends. It's been such a fun series. It has been a little treasure. That's a great way of describing it. The New Zealand series has been a little treasure.
Now you see, this is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
I do want to get a bottle of if anyone from Paul's gin company is listening.
Well, they're going to ship it all the way from New Zealand to here, are they?
Yes.
No.
I really want to try it.
He's very wealthy, apparently, he said.
He's playing a character.
I don't know.
But if they can get it here before next week.
Well, it's not going to happen, but okay.
If they can, get in touch if you
Having
can.
a gin for the final.
I will have a gin.
Paul Henry.
I will drink a big glob of Paul Henry, and I'll stick it down my throat if you can get it here by next week. If you're listening, get in touch at Traitors Podcast on Twitter or X, or on Instagram at Faithful to the Traitors.
It's not going to get here on time, but still.
They could if they do it by airmail. It'll cost them a lot of money, but I mean, I'm happy, and I'll even give them a review live on the podcast. Have we decided what we're going to do for the final?
Yes. We're not going to announce it until we've done it.
Well, can you announce it to me at some point? Are you doing a King's? I've
got a great plan. Foolproof. Yes, we're going to try something a bit different to make the final a bit more final-like, a bit more exciting.
Yeah, because we find the finals to be a bit flat. It's a bit tricky to kind
it's
of
hard to do a podcast on it, because once you say who's won, that's the end.
That's the end of it, isn't it? Yeah.
So, yes. Everyone will have to stay tuned.
Ooh, okay, I'm excited too. I'll listen.
So... there you go, that's another week done. Final next week then. Two more left.
Yep, so predictions for the final, everyone. You've got a week now. Mm-hmm. As I said, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. You can email us, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. And if you want to help with the show, go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful or just share our links.
That's right. So we'll see you again next week for the grand final in Paul's paddock.